Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from Passionate Reds, only on All for United.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Manchester United did not lose today. What an incredible feeling that is to say. Travelling to one of the best teams in Europe, and we didn't lose. We should have lost. We didn't. Who cares? I'm your host, as always, replacing Mark. Hopefully I do a decent enough job. Obviously, he's a bit of a legend for these reactions. But introduce my panel, Dale, Stu, Waz and Bainsy. Hope you're all well. Obviously, Dale's first time on the show, so everyone make him feel very welcome. Show him the All for United love. But let's get straight into it. I'll come first to you, Dale. You know, we were talking before the show. It wasn't a classic United performance, but to get a draw at the Wanda Metropolitano under those circumstances as well, it's got to deserve some credit, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. To be fair, obviously the first half for myself, it was just poor, lackluster. Wasn't trying for second balls. We just looked afraid. That atmosphere probably got to some of the players who probably aren't experienced at this level. Even though most of them pretty much have all played at this level anyway for some time, but I feel like of a stadium that size, it was always going to be nerve-wracking. But yeah, second half, I think when we met the subs, bringing on Tellez, bringing on Bissaka, bringing on Matic, the game, you could felt there was a slight shift. It weren't perfect. It was nowhere near perfect. And then obviously bringing on Elanga, and then just that throw in there, quick throw. I think it was off Ronaldo header, through to Fred to Bruno. Elanga just he's like he's been playing for years, like he's a veteran. Literally just let the ball come across him, looked up towards the keeper, slotted it home. So yeah, it was a job good. And in the end, I think the last 10-15 minutes, it looked like we probably could have got a second the way it was going, but 1-1, jobs are good and there to the home leg. So yeah.
Absolutely. Stu, I'll come to you. Obviously, you, with no disrespect at all, you've seen a lot of European knockout football in your time. Was that the classic smash and grab?
It's how it should be. It's how it should be when you go away from home. You've got to do a job. You are always going to be under pressure at Atletico. That's how they play. They play a high-pressure game. Simeone demands more. I've seen 1,000,001 tweets with this, with that. Honestly, just understand football first and foremost. Understand what it means to go away at this elite level and take a point. And I've been on here, Baines will tell you, hundreds and hundreds of times about one shot, one goal. It's absolutely vital at this level of football at this point in the Champions League. So it doesn't really matter whether we had 100% possession or 2% possession. You come away with a result, and that's all you can ask for. So I think travelling fans were great as usual. And I think once the kind of furore dies down about the way that we played, I think a lot of people will understand that, yeah, it was the perfect night of football for us. It really was. And it gives us a chance now. It gives us a springboard back at home, which I expect us to win comfortably on our own turf. So, yeah, well happy. I've seen it all before, though. Seen it all before. It's nothing new. Nothing.
Got no doubt about that. Well, Waz, it's brilliant to have you back on the show. I'll ask you about this question from Andrew, because I think the comment. Sorry, I think it's a really good comment. Obviously, Atletico were incredible in this game. I think there's no doubt in that. They really put on a Champions League worthy performance, and I don't think we matched their level. But how important was it just to get out of the result, get a result out of that game despite the performance?
Yeah, the results are always paramount in these sorts of game knockout stages. So, of course, scoring and to make it 1-1 is a great result. We would have taken that before the game because there's no away goal rule as well. So it didn't really matter. We just need to get in and out basically without getting hurt too much, and we did that. We'll go back to Old Trafford. I thought we were really poor, to be honest. I think between Pogba and Fernandes, they lost possession 40 times. That's predominantly Fernandes with 23 and 17 with Pogba. That's too much in an away game. The turnover in possession, they start creating chances. It could have been 2. Let's not kid ourselves. Could have been 2, maybe 3. I think Griezmann hit the bar at the end. Someone hit the bar at the end.
Yeah, and, Griezmann,
yeah, a bit fortuitous. But again, it is a result. Cup games is result business, and we got 1-1, so I'm happy with that.
But bearing in mind, if you look at the overall performance, I don't think De Gea was troubled too much, really.
No.
On the big scheme of the game itself.
I don't even
The
think
type
he
of-
made
type of
it.
the
Did he even make a
possession that
save?
I think they only had one shot on target, to be fair.
That was it, yeah.
Yes,
that
so,
was the goal.
like I say, you can have as much possession as you like. It's what you do with the football that counts. And we soak it up. It's a good away day, soaking up pressure and coming away with a result. We can't be too disappointed. I mean, Cal always looks disappointed, doesn't he? All right, Cal. Always, he's got that face, hasn't he? That, we love you, Cal. We love you.
Well, I was.
Go on then, Cal. After begging to get into the show,
I did
give us
see
your thoughts and make it good.
Did a fuck bag. I mean, I did.
Let's read the tweet. Hello, James. Please send me your link.
Yeah, well, I thought United were. I think that was one of the worst first halves I've seen. I think it might have been probably Rashford's worst game in the United shirt. I'd have took that result. Anyway, 1-1 is not bad. I know there's no away goal anymore, so it just means it's decided at Old Trafford, which is good. I'm so sick of the midfield at this club. I just can't deal with it anymore. I don't understand how Maguire and Varane can bring the ball out and you have Pogba and Bruno stood 50 yards away from them. Like, how are they supposed to progress the ball forward? Like, we go on about being a passing team and passing out from the back. How do we pass out from the back when your only options Varane and Shaw, or Lindelof and Shaw, and then when they try and pass the ball forward, there's nobody to pass to. So then our only other option is kicking it back to De Gea, who can't pass wind, never mind a football. It's unbelievable. I'm sat there screaming at the TV, just asking professional footballers to move into space so that they can receive a ball. Like, it's basic shit, and I'm sat here going mental, like throwing things. I just don't understand how these players get away with this shit. It's unreal. And then you've got Elanga having to come on and save this team. There was do you remember that 20-second period where Rashford had the ball, crossed it into Ronaldo, and it went nowhere near him. So Shaw then tried it, and it went over Ronaldo's head back to Rashford, and then Rashford did the exact same thing again.
And straight after, you had Ronaldo go, just one cross.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he went that and just went one cross. That's all I need.
I don't understand how these players, like Shaw, I am convinced Shaw is a good footballer every 10 years because the guy is shit for Man United. The guy is not a Manchester United player. Harry Maguire, that cross for Felix's goal was brilliant. But Maguire was yards away from him, man. He was yards away from his player. It's not good enough. He's nowhere near him.
I think it was also Shaw as well. Shaw literally saw Felix run around, didn't even say anything to Maguire.
There's no communication.
It's the same shit all the time. And guess where that all stemmed from? David De Gea not being able to kick the ball properly.
This is my point.
It's unreal. And then I swear to God, if David De Gea came out and did a great save, everyone would have been praising him. Why? It was De Gea's fault. But then you have De Gea having to do that because there's nobody to pass the ball to. Because he passes it to Lindelof or Maguire or Varane, whoever's in the centre-back positions. They then pass it to the left-back. The left-back looks forward and sees that the midfield's all marked because they're all 30 yards away. He then has to pass it back to the goalkeeper. And then because the goalkeeper's being pressed by the forward line of the opposition, he then has to hoof it up the pitch. And because he can't pass the ball then goes out for a throw-in, and then they come back and attack us. It's the same every game. And when we're playing the likes of Palace and Watford and West Ham and all these teams who are happy to sit back, it's fine. But when you're playing the likes of Atletico Madrid, when you're playing the likes of Atalanta in the Champions League and Liverpool and City, to an extent, Leeds, like we nearly fucked up against Leeds at the weekend because of this stuff. It's the same garbage all the time. And I'm so sick of it. I don't understand. I just said to the other half then, if you put a blank kit on a City or a Liverpool team and said, go watch that football team, you'd enjoy it so much more because they know what they're doing. They know how to play the ball out. They know that if there's nobody on to pass the ball to, another player makes himself available. It is like watching idiots play football. They do not know what they're doing. And this is nothing to do with coaching. How do they not know to move into space to make themselves available for a football? It's unbelievable.
You've got to concede, though. What a fucking goal! It was a wonderful cross and a wonderful header. And
it's a brilliant goal.
Movement kills in football. Absolutely kills. And
the goal's fine, Stu.
And this is like Cavani said when he's on his game. Movement kills in football. Absolutely destroys a defender.
But
I've had it done to me.
Even Robbie Savage said it. The entire defence is slow. They're too slow. They're too unreactive.
Yeah,
they react when they feel like they need to, which is always too late. They're never proactive on the ball. It's ridiculous. These players don't know what they're doing, and I don't understand how. They're all professional multi-millionaire footballers. It's not even championship level. It's not even that. Because if you drop down to the championship and you watch Fulham, Jesus Christ, like they know how to play football. These players just hope that they could. The amount of times they passed it between the defence tonight and couldn't get it forward because the midfield was miles away. How did Pogba and Bruno not go, oh shit, we're nowhere near him. Let's drop deep a bit so we can get the ball so we can slowly get it up the field quicker. I think that's what was available. By the time they did that, right, they just hoofed up the ball and hoped Ronaldo was at the end of it.
But to be fair, though, when Matic came on, he's the only. I get what you're saying, Callum, but he's Matic when he comes on. He almost sits in between the two and collects it off the centre backs, and then he drives. Then he drives forward. Right? Okay, I get it. I mean, Maguire and Lindelof or Varane or whoever it is, they can do the same thing, but there's got to be a connect between the centre backs and the midfield. And Matic is the only one that does that. McTominay doesn't do it. At times he does, but not often enough. Fred, of course, does. We know he doesn't do it. He's more of a number 8. Like you said, Pogba and Bruno are way too far up the pitch. I mean, they were awful today, Pogba and Bruno. And we've been singing their praises for weeks under Ranić. And today they were awful. They couldn't do the simple passes right. They couldn't get the 5-yard passes in front of them. Bruno was trying to hit it long. He was playing his hero ball again. Pogba was holding on to it for too long. And then what happens is
making fouls when he lost the ball.
Yeah,
it's the same stuff all the time. And then you put
exactly.
My main worry, and I mean, my genuine main worry about it is right. I don't think anyone on this panel genuinely believes United are going to win the Champions League, but unfortunately, this is the only trophy we're actually currently in. Yeah. We can't win anything else. We're nowhere near the Premier League. We went out of the FA Cup in the 4th fucking round to Middlesbrough. We went out of the Carabao Cup to West Ham. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd round. We're currently in the last 16. Atletico Madrid have been shocking this season. I don't even think they're in the top 4 in Spain at the minute. Their defence this season's not been good at all. Go and kill them. Go and get the tie done. They looked terrified of them tonight. They looked, honestly, it was like we were playing 1970s Brazil. Like, they were terrified of them.
It was never going to happen, though, Carl. It was never going to happen. We're never going to go into their back.
It's the atmosphere. It's hostile. The players weren't ready for. They thought this was a jolly up in Huddersfield away. They weren't prepared for what they were going to. When they were walking on that pitch, they weren't prepared of the fans, the hostile environment. They weren't prepared for it. You can tell from the first 10 minutes because we were awful that first 10 minutes. And obviously, we conceded the goal. We weren't prepared.
The thing is, Stu's right. We're not going to go to their backyard and batter them, but at least fucking try, for Christ's sake. For goodness me, honestly, that first half was piss poor. But none of the players looked like they even knew each other. They looked like 11 people that had just come from a pub, genuinely, and just go and play football together. It's unreal. They're playing in the Champions League, the last 16. It's not the final. They're playing Atletico Madrid, who haven't been good. Show a bit of fight, for Christ's sake. Show a bit of doubt about you. Show a bit
First off, we were unbalanced. We were totally unbalanced as a team. and I've said this before, and I've said it again. I get a lot of crap for it. Pogba and Bruno don't complement each other. They just don't. And the problem is they both want the free roll. And once you've got two players wanting a free roll, that's why you've got a 50-yard gap between the one holding player and the rest. And there's your biggest problem. And that's what occurs today. So you got to sacrifice one of them. And I was on a show a week or two ago, and I just felt that Pogba should really go in the summer. Look, a lot of people admire Pogba as a player.
He should. He can fuck off.
I just never really done it for us. I don't think he's ever turned up for United at a consistent level. When Pogba goes off, you see a different type of Bruno. You see a Bruno that wants the ball and will try stuff. So it's quite interesting. But I just felt that Ranić, I could understand his ideas because what it would do, it would completely flummox Atleti. But Atleti didn't really care about us. And there's an old saying in football, play your own game, not your opposition. And that's exactly what Atleti did. They played their own game and didn't bother about us as an opposition. Didn't care about who was right back. Didn't care about who was a left back. Didn't give a toss who's in the middle. They played their own game. We've got to start doing that. So I just thought Ranić unbalanced us at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't actually mind. I didn't mind Lindelof as right back. I thought, in terms of, I mean, I don't particularly know why you went with that, but I didn't mind it, to be honest. I said that before the game.
Yeah, he's done it for years, hasn't he?
You know, he did okay for the ability that he has in terms of being a right back.
When Wan-Bissaka came on, though, we did look better.
Yeah,
I don't know whether that was because of Elanga.
I mean, again, that shows though that Lindelof isn't a right back, and personally, I don't quite understand why. I get Lindelof's probably an informed player at the moment. You could probably argue that, but the thing is, it's that same old issue, isn't it? We're trying to fit in everybody because we want to, when in reality, Lindelof either doesn't play tonight or you drop Maguire over Varane.
Yeah, exactly.
I genuinely thought Varane looked a little bit lost at time, and I only feel like that because
to be honest, I don't think anyone was great. The only people that were great were subs. The subs came on and changed it for us.
Well, this is the thing, no, mate, and I know I'm taking over this show a little bit, so I do apologise, but I'm here now, so. The problem is Varane was looking so lost, but the amount of times he was being given the ball when he clearly didn't want it because he was trying to say to the other players, either fucking come and show for us so we can pass the ball to you, or we're having to hoof it forward, and then he was being given the ball when there was needless pressure all over him, and then it makes him look shit. It's the same thing with Fred all the time. People go mental at Fred for losing the ball. And it's like because he's passed the ball when he doesn't ask for it because he knows he's covered in players from the opposition team, but he then loses the ball because of that, and everyone goes, "Oh, Fred." When in reality, the centre back shouldn't have even passed him the ball.
Yeah.
But the thing is, this is what I can't understand. When you watch Man City, you see that players might be marked, and there's always that next pass option. They're always in mini triangles all over the pitch. If this player isn't on, another one moves into the triangle so that player can be passed to, so that they can move the ball forward. They'll do it, but they'll do it patiently and make sure that ball goes from there to there. United do that constantly.
And then over.
And then nobody's there to back forward. Get the ball back to the Gea, and then he fucks it up the pitch.
The problem you got
nowhere near anybody.
Yeah, the problem you got with Carl there is that Gundogan will go deep and he'll show for the ball nicely, but he can affect the play. Gundogan can hold it and he can affect it. Unfortunately, Fred, bless him, as good as he is as a player, he can't always hold the ball. And
he's not that type of player, Stu.
That's right.
He's not that type of player. He's happy to get the ball and give it to someone better. It's kind of Fred's job. But the thing is, when McTominay plays, McTominay doesn't show for the ball ever. Never shows for the ball.
The makeup of the midfield was wrong from the beginning. So when we initially started the game, there was already nervousness from De Gea, as Callum mentioned. Fernandes was given a bit cheaply. Was there that? Do you know that chance probably around the 6th minute which Lindelof blocked?
Yeah,
Fernandes lost
that
it.
came from the first corner, I think.
Yeah. Fernandes lost it in the corner, basically where Shaw plays. He lost it in that area, and then there was a great block from Lindelof around the 6th minute. So there was that nervous energy in the team that it just starts spreading. And then we already know Fred, he's not good in a single pivot. Even as a number 8, he's not a world-class number 8. He's a reasonable to decent number 8 with certain qualities that you could use. But in a single pivot, he causes so much nervousness. You know, even if you pass at him, You think, oh, he's going to get surrounded and he's going to lose the ball.
Mm.
And then what doesn't help him is Fernandes and Pogba. They're so advanced. They're not even giving Fred a passing option. I even mentioned during the game, Pogba's got a drop to make it 4-2-3-1 to at least give Fred some support.
Yards. Yeah, he's got drop 20
give
yards.
Fred some support. Give a passing option from the defense, and also give Fred some support because Fred has to cover left, right. It's far too much, and Felix is dropping in that number 10 position. It was is way too much on him. So that's why I thought the makeup was all wrong. And obviously, as Bainsy touched on, it did improve when Matic came on because the balance was a bit better.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
listen, let me
Go on,
let me
James.
bring Dale back into the conversation. He's been quiet for a bit too long
Bless
now.
him,
So
I was just
I wanna-
listening, just appreciating it.
we'll
Yeah, he's just
stick
had to
with
jump in on this show, to be fair, mate, because no one
you
shut
have to,
up.
We'll stick with the midfield and this sense of control that Ranić's been talking about so often. So every press conference is on about the desire for control. Is it worrying for you the fact that we had on paper probably our best midfield available, and yet this is probably the least control we've had in a game under Ralph Ranić?
Obviously, on paper, you look at Pogba, Bruno, and Fred, and you would say, yeah, that's probably the best three you could fit in there. But like Stu says, you got Pogba running down the right. Running down the left, and then you got Bruno running down the right. And obviously, there's Fred's just like pushing forward a bit, and then you got Maguire and then Varane, who having to literally just run from centre back in between their attackers to try and get a pass off, which either gets intercepted or then they've got to turn back and give it to a winger. So that's the problem. But like when Matic came on today, he just sits in that deep line role. He's just waiting for a ball there, and that's what we need. That's what we've been begging for the past few years. Just a comfortable DM. But Matic isn't world class. Obviously, Matic can sometimes give a ball away. He's lost a lot of his pace. Obviously, he's still a very experienced and veteran man. But the problem is we just need that person there week in, week out, and be able to distribute a ball well and look at people to run in behind. Obviously, when Elanga came on, he was running in behind. Ronaldo, I don't know where his head was at today. Obviously, I can understand his frustration having a cross over him and a cross over and a cross over him, no balls to him. Ronaldo, in the end, was doing what Felix was doing all for the first half and second half. He had to come deep, come into left back, right back to get the ball. And obviously, when you got you could say one of the greatest players of all time, you don't want him at left back and right back, you want him up front. And that comes down to the midfield because the midfield just can't get the ball forward. We're relying too much on a left back or right back or even giving it to Rashford. But then Rashford today, bless him, just really poor, just so poor. Couldn't get himself into the game. Sancho was, you could say, okay, but he didn't do much. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing he didn't give anything really. But obviously,
you can't do much when everyone around you is absolutely rubbish, though.
100%.
You know, this is the thing. There was no. Sorry, Dale, but just to quickly touch on it, it's just like there's no. It's just today. This is only today, by the way. I'm not going by what's happened in the recent weeks. I think, to be honest, in the recent weeks we've actually played quite well. But again, this is the golfing class when it comes to the Premier League and the Champions League. I don't care who you play, and I don't care what argument you can make that the Premier League is the best league in the world. Okay, it might be, but when it comes to the Champions League, and you've got elite teams like Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid and PSG are all there, you're going to be tested. And today, it just didn't seem like there was no control. And Ranić's that coach who's always admired in his press conferences to say, yeah, we must take control. You know, if we lose the ball, we've got 8 seconds and we get the ball back. There was none of that today. Now, I don't know whether because it was the balance of the team or maybe Lindelof was playing right back or he wanted McTominay because in the pre-match interview he said he wanted McTominay, but he was ill. He called him today and said, look, are you available? He said no. So I don't know. We can't from, I don't know when, we got 3 games now in the Premier League, and then we play Atletico midweek.
Yeah.
We can't repeat. If we do that performance again at Old Trafford, there's not many times in the Champions League where you can play that badly and get away with it. We did it at Villarreal, we did it at Atalanta, but in all due respect, Atletico Madrid are not Atalanta and they're not Villarreal. They're going to wipe the floor with us if we do that again at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I take everybody's point, but in away days like this, you just got to dig deep.
Yeah. No, the result is perfect. So
you've got to dig as a collective.
Yeah, can't fault that. can't fault that result. The 1-1, brilliant. Like, I would take it. If before the match, every one of you and even the guys in the comments said, Baines, it's going to be a 1-1, would you take it? I'll chop your hand off. Of course I would.
Yeah.
Away, you lose. The rule is you don't lose away, you go home and win. But that performance, that's something wrong with there. Honestly, something wrong there.
I think the important thing to notice here is, right, but I don't actually think anyone's bothered about the result. I think everyone's actually quite happy about that.
Yeah.
I only think it was 1-0 for so long is because it was Atletico Madrid. It's typical of them to go 1-0 up and defend. But unfortunately for them, this season, that has not been great for them because that is their kind of die-hard trick that usually works for them. But this year, it hasn't. And United eventually capitalised. But Christ almighty, for that first half in particular, we were dreadful. We were absolutely dreadful. And that's what we're criticising here. We expect better.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's a tough place to go. I get that.
Well, it could have easily been 2. Obviously, that free kick.
It could have been.
Everyone was just slow to react again.
They had 6 shots in our box.
United are constantly slow to react. They never, ever can be asked going for second balls. Yeah. It's just lethargic and lazy. And any other team in the Champions League currently, Benfica, Ajax, I genuinely believe they would have scored 2 or 3 against that first half performance.
Yeah,
they were lazy.
I don't mind the performance at all. It didn't matter to me one little bit. When you get to knockout football, it just doesn't matter the performance. It's the result that matters, and we're still in the tie. And that's how you got to look at it. I know it goes against the grain. I know fans just want to see attacking football all the while, but you just can't do it. You can't go to places like this. If we
not against the elite,
If we've gone to PSG, if we've gone to Milan, if we've gone to Bayern Munich, any of these teams, and we came away with a 1-1 draw, we'd be absolutely delighted. We came away with a 1-0 loss at Bayern, we'd be delighted because we're still in the tie. And that's the key element for us. It's just knockout football. It's bland. It's boring. It doesn't say much about the players. It doesn't say much. But sometimes a dogged performance. I've said this about the likes of Burnley. They put in a dogged performance against you. They're not pleasing on the eye. We definitely weren't pleasing on the eye tonight. We definitely didn't play great football. But it's a great result for us, really. And that's really the key elements. Now, what happens on Saturday afternoon, isn't it? 3 o'clock, I think.
3 o'clock.
Yeah, Watford.
I will be there.
He's got Jake. Well, surprise. Jake's got our ticket again, so he'll be there. I'll get him to look out for you, Cal. You should meet me, lad. Honestly, you should meet me, lad. He's great. They're going to the Trafford, I think.
I don't go in there, really. We'll go elsewhere.
Oh, don't you? Yeah, they're going to the Trafford.
No, I'll go elsewhere.
But, it'll be, okay, wrong performance doesn't matter. Ronan, I've got to disagree with you, pal. You obviously haven't played knockout football, mate, because it's the result, pal. That's what knockout football's about.
The result matters, but the performance can't be repeated. You can't.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing, Stu. The result and that performance can't be repeated because if that happens
it's 3-0 Atletico.
Yeah, it's. I don't know about that because I think Atletico were Atletico's biggest downfall.
But they didn't they only scored once. That's how you got to look at it. The playing facts are they only scored once.
I can't remember David De Gea making a save.
I don't think he did he?
I don't think he did.
I don't think he made a save. So they had 2 shots on target then because one hit. 3 because Griezmann hit the post. The other, João Felix hit the post, and then he scored.
Post don't technically count as target. So
does it not? So they didn't have any shots. I don't think David De Gea made any saves then.
One. He made
Griezmann one would have been offside.
And even Oblak, I don't even think Oblak made any saves. We had 1 shot and 1 goal, and he didn't save it. So
wasn't one with Lingard at the end? Was it Lingard?
P-roller.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Right. I was too busy. I was too busy looking at my phone. No, you're right. But look about the performance. Yeah, I don't think we can repeat that before. I hope we don't. And now we've got 3 really tough games now in the Premier League. We've got Watford, City. No, sorry, Watford, Liverpool, City, Atletico Madrid, then Tottenham.
Yeah.
And Liverpool just
6-0. Like, and if they're spanking them 6-0, we're struggling to win them 4-2 and letting them come back when we're 2-0 ahead when we should be seeing the game through. We've got another things coming when we face Liverpool. Obviously, I feel like that's going to tear us a new one.
It doesn't.
You've
Yeah,
got
I don't want to repeat the earlier this season. Look,
you've got to look at it from a game-by-game basis. Each game is
Yeah.
different. It's
You
just
don't-
one of
We've
those
got
games
Watford
that's
next.
saying,
Just
yeah,
worry
it's
about
one of
them.
those
Hopefully,
games.
sweep them to the side, and then worry
take it
about the
game
next
by
game.
game and stop looking ahead at fixtures and saying win, lose, win, lose. We've got to beat Watford, and that's it. But going back to Stu's point about the performance, at the end of the day, no, you're right. The performance doesn't matter. But my concern is it's more the lack of care and fight. Like I keep saying, you know, when the defenders have it and the midfielders are 50 yards away, like it's things like that that bothers me. It's not the performance and the dodgy passes. It's the, do you even want the ball?
It's how they come out of that game.
And then when
Cal.
when that happens, and then the defenders can't pass it to you, and then you see Pogba or Bruno or Ronaldo screaming back at them because they couldn't find them, and it's like, what do you expect them to do? Like they're not magic. They're never going to find you when there's an entire midfield of Atletico in between you and your midfielders and forwards, all marked, and you can't find them because you're all 50 yards away. Like when they're not magicians, it's ridiculous. And I want to see a better performance. Yeah, in the main, I want to see a win. But the problem we have is, how can we genuinely sit there and go, it doesn't matter, because it does. It matters when you actually show a bit of nous about you and a bit of fight for the ball. Like we never win second balls. We head the ball up in the air, and then just nobody goes for that second jump to try and get the ball back. That's the kind of stuff that bothers me, because then when you see, like, I hate being the Yadar and going, oh, Roy Keane would have never put up with that, but these players wouldn't have put up with that, and like you can't compare Paul Pogba to him because he doesn't fucking fight for it. Maguire screaming as a captain, oh, it's offside when the 4 yards onside and stopping, but like play to the whistle. Luke Shaw not knowing what player's behind him because he can't be arsed looking over his shoulder to see who he's got a mark. Like these things wouldn't have happened 30 years ago, 20 years ago. And it really bothers me to watch that. You have midfielders 50 yards away because they can't be arsed showing for a pass.
You're looking at a different type of player, though, Connor. 20 years ago, today there's no aggression. I mean, I saw Twitter over the weekend, and it just made me laugh really because everyone's going on about it's about time, that McTominay does this. He then shows a picture of his fucking ankle. Get a life. Fuck me. You should have had that every single game, not just against Leeds.
That's what I mean. It's
every single game. He should be having his limping. If I was, and I say this to my lad. If you don't come off that pitch and you're not limping, you're not bleeding somewhere, you're not bruised, you haven't played. What was the point of you crossing the white line, son? This is what I always say to him. And our players
everything on the pitch.
Yeah, but modern day players don't do that. They don't do that, I'm afraid. Modern day players, they're weak mentally and a lot of them are weak physically. They don't know what a challenge is.
Do you know what? I genuinely think, and I am terrified of this, but I do wonder if that is why the first half performance was so bad, because I think the Metropolitana in Madrid is quite a scary place to go in terms of the atmosphere, the fans.
Looks terrifying.
You know what I mean?
Looks terrifying. It sounds terrifying.
Well, we say it's terrifying. It's not terrifying. It's just a load of people shouting really loudly.
But you can't get you can't settle, can you? That's what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean. The atmosphere is loud and it's unsettling. Honestly, them players looked absolutely terrified. Honestly, it looked like you were putting them into no man's land. Like you may as well have thrown them into no man's land and just gone right with no weapons. They looked absolutely scared to death.
Thing is, you can quieten the crowd by keeping the ball. You keep the ball for the first 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They quieten down. We played into their hands with the De Gea, with Fred losing the ball, with them scoring early.
This is what I mean. Into their hands. We shown Atletico Madrid, who are not good this season, so much respect. If we were to go play Real Madrid, and like say we get through, and we get Real Madrid in the next round, or PSG, or Bayern Munich, they'll wipe the floor with us. They will wipe the floor with us.
They'll take the chances.
Here's a
Because
question for everyone then.
we'll take the chances, and United will just buckle.
If City or Liverpool played Atletico Madrid, well, we've seen Liverpool play Atletico Madrid.
Liverpool
But
did,
if City and Liverpool played Atletico Madrid right now, just now, and we're coming out, do you really think they would have walked away with a 1-1? I don't think so.
No.
I think,
I'll be honest. I
and
don't
do you
think
know
so.
what, mate? There's your problem, and there's my problem. Me and you, as Man United fans, are consistently comparing our club to them two, right? And unfortunately, our club.
Well, we've got to, because they're our rivals, and we've got to
Yeah,
get
I mean-
back up to them.
No, I
You know
know,
what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but this is. Let me finish. We're consistently comparing our club to them two. Our club is nowhere near them two.
No.
It just isn't.
Yeah, we're
It
not.
is, and you know what? Whilst these people own our club, we will be nowhere near them again. And this is the problem. We compare them. I will watch Man City and Liverpool and see a team fucking know what they need to do on a pitch. We don't. We have absolutely no idea. Yeah, there are rivals, and we will compete. We will compare because we have to. There are rivals, but we need to get used to the fact that at this moment in time, City would wipe the floor with that Atletico Madrid team, I'm afraid, and Man United won't.
Most
But
games.
like you say, there's a bit of a chasm between us. And if you're right, Carl, and players look scared, then that's bad news, because I like nothing more than an away day than going into somebody else's backyard and turning them
Doing
over.
it.
I
Yeah.
absolutely fucking loved it. It was the
Yeah,
thing.
I did
You
as
know,
well.
home games are great, but what going away? You know, places like Bewley or fucking Hereford or places like that, walking in as a team, as a squad of players, going onto that pitch, fucking turning them over, you know, waving at their fans, fucking having a bit of banter with their fans, and then walking out, having a beer with them. Nothing like it. Fucking loved it. Missed that.
Yeah, exactly.
Days.
And I think
Good days.
that's why I was disappointed with the first half so much, because they looked terrified and they looked like they didn't know what they were doing, and the performance wasn't good enough, and the players just didn't look like they wanted to be there. Now, compare that with, and that was my worry for Sunday when we played Leeds. Going to Ellen Road where your fans are, oh, fuck off, Rashford is not our Dele Alli, he's just having fun.
No.
Sorry, he was piss poor, and that was probably one of his worst. But Dele Alli, Christ, shut up.
Dear,
I can just guarantee what kind of tool that is. That's why I don't turn the comments on anymore. This is what I mean. And with the Ellen Road game, I was very impressed with how it was 2-0 and it went to 2-2. I thought, there you go. That's the Man United we know to hate at the moment. And they turned it around and won 4-2, which was brilliant.
Yeah.
When they did that, I just expected better tonight. And I was really upset and disappointed with the fact that they were they just looked like they were just headless chickens running around after a football. They didn't look like they had a plan. They didn't look like they knew what they were doing. They looked like they were just passing the ball wherever they want and hopes that a blue shirt was on the end of it. You know, I hate it. It sounds really weird
think,
saying that, done it because they were away.
I think if the second half they came out fighting instead of acting like how they did in the first half for the first 5-10 minutes again, it probably would have changed our opinions on tonight's game. It would have looked like Ralph had a good talking to him half time, maybe made 1 or 2 changes at half time itself, to be fair. Maybe take Lindelof off and bring up Basaka on, just to change the dynamic, you know what I mean? Maybe take Pogba off at half time, just be ballsy. Don't be afraid to take Pogba off at half time, or Bruno. Just do something big, you know what I mean?
The thing is, it needs to be brave. I think the referees need to be brave in a lot of decisions.
I don't think Lindelof was the issue. The issue was playing Lindelof at right back. He should not play right back in the first place.
I don't even think that was an issue.
Great, by the way. Yeah, we're not slating him because.
I agree.
I don't think he was that bad at right back. I just don't think that's his natural position for a lot of the time he plays.
100%.
His positional play was okay. His positional play was okay, actually.
Yeah, I thought he was all right. I thought he knew where he was. He knew where the players were that he needed to mark.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean. He did his job okay. It's just going, shut up, Siri. He was doing all right, but he just couldn't get forward quick enough. And that's the problem. But he's a centre back. He's not going to be able to do that. I think the main issue that we should genuinely be looking at tonight is I think Lindelof could be very important later in the competition. And I can't remember when the yellow cards go out of play and all that.
There was so many today.
Lindelof's yellow card tonight playing at right back could really affect us in the second leg of the quarter final. Should he pick up another one? And
It gets wiped after the
I remember then
quarterfinals.
the
though.
reset actually. Did they get reset at the
After
quarterfinal?
the quarterfinals. So
I
if
think
we
it's
get there,
quarters now.
yeah,
Or-
if we get there after the quarterfinal games are done, they get wiped and there's clean slate for semis in the final.
What we were missing tonight, and was to be fair to him, pointed out a few minutes ago about silencing the crowd, silencing the opposition, and we don't have players in our team that can identify issues early on in a game. They can't identify who's the go-to player. Do they play out from the back? Do they prefer the right back? Do they prefer the left back? Do they drop it into midfield and then play it out wide? We don't seem to be able to identify that, and we don't seem to identify what they're like when we're in possession. How they set up when we're in possession. Are they narrow or are they wide? Are they quick at coming out at you? And those are just basics of football. Our gaffer always used to say to us, he used to tell one or two of us for the first 10 minutes, observe the opposition. And then that allows you then to play as a team, as a unit, to play into the game. Then you concentrate on your own segments within that pitch, that area, your segments of play, where you can affect the play immediately. And we don't seem to do that. And that's just basic football. So what you're saying, Waz, is right. Those are how you nullify a team, within the first 10 or 15 minutes. That's how you silence people. But again, when you go away, you know what's going to happen when you go to the Wanda Metropolitano or whatever it was called. You go in there, they're all going to fucking hate you. And you want to stand around, stick your fucking chest out, hold your balls in your fucking hand, and then flick TVs at them. Because that's how you win football matches away from home. You don't give a fuck what they're doing. You don't give a fuck what the team is doing. You concentrate on your own game. And I learned that when I was 8 years old. Not in that graphic detail, but I learned that when I was 8 years old. And how to approach an away game and how to approach the opposition. Make sure you win the first tackle. Make sure you win your first header. Play yourself into the game.
Second balls. Win the second balls.
Yeah, and we don't do it. We don't do it as a team. Carl's right. We don't. So.
It depends what reaction we get. Sorry, James. It depends what reaction we get at Watford. If we come out and let's say we blitz them 4-0, do we then go back onto this result today and go, all right, may have been a one-off. I know we can't compare Watford to Atletico Madrid, but the next game is the next game and you expect a reaction. Mentally, the players have got to come out and there's two ways they look at it. And they're either happy because they're like, oh, yeah, fuck me, we've got a 1-1, we've got a result here, we'll go back to Old Trafford and we'll do them. Or they go, that was fucking dreadful. Let's make sure we don't do that again.
Yeah.
And we go to Old Trafford and we turn them over properly. They're the two kind of reactions. Now, there's certain players in that squad. I'm looking at Ronaldo, maybe Pogba, maybe even Bruno. They're the players that you would expect in that dressing room to go, boys, if we play like that again, we're done. No way are we going to walk away here with our heads held high and smiling about it because that was dreadful. But we don't know. We don't know what happens in the dressing room. That's the luxury the players have.
Go on, James.
Oh, fucking hell. He's embarrassing, isn't he?
Is he on mute? I think James is on mute.
Embarrassing.
Honestly, the one chance I've got to speak and I'm not even looking on mute. But listen, I want to move on and look at the second leg quickly before the show ends. I'll come to you first, Waz, because I think it's a question that you'll have a good answer to. It's, I suppose, what needs to change, because obviously we've said over and over again we cannot repeat this performance. So if it's in terms of how we approach the game, what lineup we put out, how do we change that? Because that was unacceptable, like you said. Yeah,
I thought obviously we need to play fullbacks in fullback areas. That's number one. So Lindelof shouldn't be in that position. It should obviously Varane didn't have a good game tonight, but generally the fans were generally saying it should have been Lindelof and Varane based on recent performances and recent form. So that should have been our centre-back pairing. Tellers has got to fight Shaw for his position because Shaw is very fortunate at the moment to be starting. So I think Tellers might creep into the team. And then I don't know what Delor's done wrongly to be out the team. So I put Delor back at right back. The midfield, we cannot have Fred as a pivot. No chance. He either plays number 8 or he's on the bench, because if he's in the pivot, he gets pressed, he loses the ball. Even the centre backs, you'll even see it. They're not comfortable in passing him the ball, so they'll go sideways, and then Atletico, they can then push up 5 yards, 10 yards, and then they condense you. And then Pogba and Fernandes, it can work at times if there's discipline in one of them, but when they were like tonight, totally ill-disciplined and careless in possession, then it doesn't work. Even when we have this like conversation where Manchester United, they need to sign the holding midfielder so we can get the best out of Fernandes and Pogba. That's not entirely true. Signing Declan Rice doesn't mean that midfield is going to work. The profile of players in Fernandes and Pogba, as Stu mentioned earlier on, they're similar types. So yeah, it might work at home against Watford and so on, because you'll dominate the ball, dominate play, they'll get on the ball and so on. But when you need someone to hold possession in deeper areas and so on, that's where they struggle, where you need someone to make the game like tick, pass and move, keep it moving like a Donny van de Beek or like a Tielemans sort of player. We lack that sort of player as well in midfield. So the narrative that one defensive midfielder will change the entire midfield is wrong, because even in a possession team, even when Guardiola did it, he had it with David Silva. David Silva ball retention is elite. Is elite ball retention. Not just that, City had a possession-based team. So there's so many factors that play into City hands. That's why they can do it in certain elements. And even their fullbacks took in. There's like 4 or 5 aspects. It does not Rodri's here. Now you can do what you want. No, there's about 5 factors that come into play. And then forward line, Rashford needs to stay out. I've tried to stand by him so many times. I'll give him post injury. I give him that period where, oh, let's kick on now. Your injury's behind you. You've had your surgery and so on. So I've tried to give him that period where he can fight back and he can perform again. But he's just not doing it. It's getting worse and worse and worse. So I think Elanga gets in the team, or in midfield, I'd preferably start Matic if he can play, and then I'd play maybe a Fernandes and a Fred as the 2 number 8s. Pogba can play in a high like left wing position, or if not, Elanga can play there, and I'll keep Sancho, and Ronaldo has to play there by default because we have no other options.
Fair enough. Anyone want to jump in?
Well, I don't disagree with any of that, really. I think you pretty much. What I would say is that there just seems to be a lack of intelligent play, and that's our biggest problem. I do speak about it a lot, and when Callum was writing his rant earlier, when you've got professional footballers, the minimum requirement is an intelligent footballer, and we just don't have that. The only thing I would say is I would take Pogba out of the equation, and I would let you've got to sacrifice Fernandes or Pogba, I just think I would take out Pogba if it was me. I'm not necessarily saying bring in McTominay. I much prefer Matic in there as a holding player. And I think Fred and Matic might be a better combination if Fred plays as an 8, but sits between Matic and Fernandes. So he sits between. If he sits between, he'll be a bit more better with progression. If he goes deep again, that's where you get your problems. So I'm talking about a single pivot. I'm not talking about a double pivot. Let's be clear. Let's be very, very clear here. It's a single pivot. It's a holding player in Matic. So Fred is your 8. And it's Fernandes as your 10, whatever way you want to call it. And then your 2 wingers, Sancho and Elanga. Ronaldo's got to play. For me, I'm going to cause a bit of controversy here again. I don't know why it's controversial, but I would play Maguire and Lindelof. I would take Varane out of the equation. I would bench him. I agree with you, 2 fullbacks.
Fair enough. Well, if no one's got anything to add, I suppose I'll pass it to our debutant for the closing statement. Dale, I'll come to you now. Answer this very, very carefully, because the answer to this question will depend on whether you come on any show on All for United again.
No pressure then, yeah.
To close us out with a final statement, a question for you: are Manchester United winning the Champions League this season?
No.
That's the wrong answer. Well, I hope you've enjoyed your time on the channel.
Obviously, like I said, we've mentioned about performance, obviously, but if you look at that performance tonight, and let's say you have them saying 3 or 4 performances in the Champions League, just ignore the Premier League for a second, in the Champions League, when we go, let's say we go to the Bernabeu, Real Madrid, and we did that performance. Obviously, it could be a one-off, could not be. This could be how the teams. We either got people who care about the team no more. We've got no dogs. We've got no hungry people. We've got no fighters. Obviously, for me, I love Cavani because you look at him and he looks like he wants to fight for every single ball. The guy's
running every single game, though.
Does he want to play?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I know that's the problem because we got Ronaldo. You know what
No,
I mean?
but Cavani picks and chooses
No,
his
but
games.
he picks. He's fucking constantly injured. He picks and chooses when he wants to play.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
but
for Cavani needs to stop now. I'm afraid.
Yeah,
nah,
because if that's Martial, then it's a different narrative.
that's just my opinion. I like Cavani. I just like how he tries
No, he
to
is a
pressure
good player.
players.
He's
there.
When he's on the
You know what I
pitch,
mean?
yeah, you're
Yeah.
bang on, Dale. Yeah, when
Yeah,
he's on the
like-
Yeah,
pitch.
when he's on the pitch, of course, it's just not enough.
Yeah. But obviously, like that's what I'm saying. We've got no dogs, and obviously, I feel like without them people wanting that hunger and desire, we're just not going to win it. Like, obviously, I hope they prove me wrong because that's what I always love. I love it when United just prove me wrong. I always set the bar low, so that means whenever it's better, I'm happy. You know
You're
what I
not
mean?
disappointed when they.
Yeah,
when you're right,
100%.
yeah.
That's what I've learned the past so many years since post Fergie. Set the bar low now, and yeah, and I'm pleased at the end of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think the best way to describe tonight was it wasn't a good performance, but we improved as the game finished.
Yeah.
I felt like we could win it at the end.
Yeah,
When we got the goal, I felt like we could win it.
At the end of the day, we started really badly. The first half wasn't great, but as the second half got on, we got better. Alanga was a bit of a shining light again. Really good to see him score. 1-1 away in Spain is not a bad result at all. And I think we could probably do it at Old Trafford. So I think the best thing to do now is look at the positives, which was the result, the fact that another academy graduate scored, and that the performance got better as it went on, and that Ralph got his subs probably right again. He saw his mistakes. He realised that we didn't start well. He saw that we had a bad first half, and he saw that he saw that it needed to be improved, which is good. If your manager can see that, then he's obviously doing something right. So let's just hope in the second game we can play a lot better and get the result that we need.
I thought it was a bit of a one-off. Sorry, James. Like today's performance, our previous performances have not been as bad as that. We've actually had relatively good performances. We've only lost one game in the last 10 in the league, and that was like towards
1 in 19 in total. Is it 1 in 19 in total, something like that?
It's only City got more points since Ralph has arrived. Only City have got more points than United. So, and we've even seen how many games have we mentioned where United performed well, but we're not scoring. We're not taking our chances. We've said it so many times. Even when we got knocked out by Middlesbrough in the cup, we should have been 3-4, 5-5, 6-0 up.
Oh, Ronaldo missed penalty.
Even against Leeds on the weekend, Ronaldo missed a sitter. So generally, we have been playing well. We have been creating chances. But today was more of a one-off for me, in my opinion.
That's what we like to hear. Ending the show on optimism. Man United are a good team. We don't always show it. We very rarely show it. We can be a good team. We might win the Champions League. We might not. Who knows? Who really cares?
The players
the players definitely don't. So it
Players
looks
don't,
like it's
yeah.
just us. But yeah, get your thoughts in the comments if you haven't already. Really interested to see what you guys think about today's game, about the upcoming second leg, whether it's a viable statement to say that we will go through to the quarterfinals or not. But yeah, massive thank you to you five for joining me. Really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Same goes to the comments. Thank you for joining. Really, really hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll have plenty more content coming up for you. Obviously, you can catch me and Stu tomorrow on the tactical preview as well, so tune in for that. But yeah, until then, we'll see you next time.